Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that remote. We have a council person here in Norristown, Pennsylvania. Olivia Brady, and she's a council person at large. In other words, the whole town. She can make decisions about the whole town. Okay. Now, I know her from way back when she was a councilman for 5 years, and then she took a little rest, and so she'll tell you more about that. But I'm zeroing in on Norristown and the county about the chief of police, the new chief, new council person, and a new commissioner. Josh Shapiro will be here next week. So we're talking about, safety and growth, economy, the whole bit. So here we are with Olivia Brady from Norristown, Pennsylvania. Welcome to Hank Cisco Show.
Thank you so much.
You were a council person, and then you retired after 5 years. Then what'd you do? Well, that 5 years or after you retired, what'd you do?
Yes, well, I was a council member during between 2000 and 2005. As you know, things were a little bit tumultuous at that time. And I left council to run for state representative of the 150th district, which included part of Norristown and went up through to Trapp, Pennsylvania, that sort of 422 corridor. I lost by 4% of the vote, and I wanted to get back on council to try and make a difference in my community.
Right. Well, I know you were very active when you were a council person. Now, tell me something about your background. Tell me something about you. Okay.
Well, I grew up in the Lower Merion area. My father's Mexican. He's a musician, a pianist.
He plays the piano?
He played.
Is he still alive?
No, he died in 2011.
I'm going to have him on my show.
I wish you could. He was a fantastic talent.
John, I'm sorry. Can't have him here to play the piano. John Doyle, we'll put him down at Center Theater. Go ahead.
That was actually one of the dreams that I wanted to have him down there, but unfortunately he passed away. My mother's an American. The two of them met when my father came to this country to study at the Curtis Institute of Music. She's also a pianist. She's still living. And
does she play any instruments or anything?
Piano and harpsichord.
She does? Mm-hmm. Wow, good.
I think so.
Hey, John, I think we recruited another one here. Go ahead.
So I grew up in a very musical family. My brother plays.
And you, how about you? Do you sing? Nothing?
No. I did play woodwind instruments.
You played the radio and the TV.
No, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That and CDs and MP3s and things like that. So, but grew up in a very musical family, so I had that as a background. But I decided to, when my husband and I first married, we were looking for a place to live, and we came to Norristown because we could afford to live here.
Right, right.
Norristown has a large amount of affordable housing, which I think is a big asset that we can draw on. And we've been in this community for almost 30 years and have got one thing that I wanted to do when I became settled, one thing that I said to myself when I became settled in a community was to get active.
Right.
So one of the first things that I did was to find out what's going on from a political standpoint and talk to the people who were involved. So I did get introduced to the mayor, who was Bill DeAngelis at the time, and Jeff Zolator, he's in Texas now.
Texas, that's right.
And Jeff Zolator, who was the second district council member at the time in the late 80s, and 85, 86 time frame. And they kind of got me involved with it. I'd never really been doing anything from governmental political standpoint before, but I thought it was a good way to get involved with the community, give back to the community, and help facilitate.
You jumped in both feet.
To facilitate the abilities for the citizens to give back to the community.
Right, right. Well, now, your council of all Norristown, at large they call that, right?
Yes.
What's the functions now? What's your authority you got, or what do they make the laws or break the laws or what?
Well, hopefully you don't break the laws.
Don't break the law.
The charter, which is what governs the municipality of Norristown, is what we call a home rule charter.
Home rule, that's right.
So originally, when we were formed in 1812, we were under borough code, Pennsylvania Borough Code.
Yes.
But the state gave each municipalities the option of writing their own charter. So the Norristown Charter was written originally in 1986, I believe, and for the first time. It had gone through a number of different reiterations, and they finally did get it passed. They structured it, it used to be where they have 12, we have 12 voting districts, and there used to be
Yeah,
a
that's
council
right, it was
member
12.
for each voting district. Well, now, when the charter was done, they split it up, and each voting district now has 3 precincts in it. So they have a council member for the actually
right.
4 precincts, 4 wards, and then we have, so there'd be 4 district council members and 3 at-large council members.
At-large, yeah.
The idea is that the community member has basically 4 people that they can go to for issues. One
Right.
that is specifically for their district, and the other that would be for the entire municipality. And I think the idea originally to do this was that each district council member was so engrossed in their own little district
Yeah, their own little,
that they weren't looking at things that were going to be good for the entire municipality.
I can vouch to that, Paul Sant'Angelo. Oh, my God. When he was a councilman, when he was running for election, he was, his father-in-law owned the macaroni factory, and he'd have a truck, flat-body truck with boxes of macaroni, and he'd go up and down Moore Street with votes, and he'd give everybody a couple pounds of macaroni.
Yeah, I heard
You know,
about
he-
those
He was something, you know, he had not much education, but he held it for 50 years, I think. 50 years he was a councilman, something like that. I mean, that's a record nationwide, I think.
Yes, actually it is.
So,
So the idea of having at-large council members was that they would be able to look at what was good for the whole overall for the whole municipality. So when I was on council before, I was a council member for the 2nd district, which is roughly
where is that?
well, it's roughly from Stanbridge Street to Arch Street and Elm Street to the river
Stanbridge Street?
to Arch Street and
And-
Elm Street to the river. So it
Wow.
comprised, the town is divided into 4 areas. But the 2nd district comprises a lot of the main area, Main Street and Marshall Street and the
Yeah.
commercial areas,
Wow.
and has a high percentage of rental properties in it. So I was council member there for 5 years, and when the seat became available for an at-large, this is the remainder of Dwayne Royster's seat, who had resigned from council. So this was a special election in 2013 that I ran for. And so I have a 2-year term, and then I could get elected if I ran again after 2 years.
Good. Now, what's your biggest challenge as a councilwoman here? Like that song, getting to know you, get to know all about you. No?
I think the biggest challenge is to get the community active and engaged. We have a lot of people, there's a small minority of people who are very active and talk a lot about what's going on and what they feel their issues are. But there's a large percentage of people in the municipality that don't vote and aren't engaged. And we see that at the polls every time there's an election. You know, there's 2 elections every year. There's the primary, where the major parties vote on their person to run in the general, and the general in November. And we have cycles of these elections. We vote on municipal members or county, or then other years we vote on state races, and other years we vote on federal races. Well, Norristown has historically been a very low voting turnout.
Yeah, tell me.
In the presidential years, we have maybe 45, 44%, sometimes up to 50%. But in the off years, municipal elections like 2013, we very often have about 13 to 15% voters.
Wow.
So that's an indication that our community is not engaged.
Not engaged.
And there are a number of reasons for that. They could be ill-educated about what's going on and why it's important to vote for your local electeds. What I always say to people is, the president can't do anything about the potholes on your street
Well, we got
but your
some.
local council person can.
Oh my God, there's more potholes within the last week, I guess now since the snow melted.
Right.
So will you alert somebody down there to wait until, I know I went by down along, I don't know, around Main Street, I think, one pothole, there was a family of 6 living in it, you know. So let's not wait until, you know, get an apartment there, but, I'm glad you brought that up because, it always happened because the snow plows never dig it up and all, but they ought to get to it before they get too bad. In fact, down on Lafayette Street, 1700 block of Powell Street, we never had very few, but now there's potholes there because of this weather, hot and cold, you
Right,
know.
right.
So,
Well, I'm
yeah.
actually on the Public Works Committee, and that's one of the things that we're going to be discussing is the ability, I'd like to see an ability for the residents to report where the potholes are so that we can prioritize
All
which
right,
potholes
how are
needs
you
to
going
be
to do
filled.
that? How can you get the people involved to locate? I think Patch had something, you call in a
Right.
location.
Patch has something, the Times Herald does have a site, but I'd like to see more interaction on our norristown.org website.
Right, okay.
There is an ability for citizens to submit a complaint, but we are beginning to, you know, we're living in the 21st century. We have the ability to do more interactively, more
Right,
online.
right.
One of the things that I would like to see is the ability for the residents to be able to go on our website, report an incident, and have it get sent and directed immediately to the department that's responsible for that incident. And they have also some kind of feedback. Because when you submit a complaint to the municipality, you often don't know what's happening to it.
Right.
When I was on council before, and even now, I would get people saying, I called the municipality, I told them what's going on, I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, well, and that's where follow-up should come.
Right.
You
There
know?
should be an interactive ability on our website to be able to track that complaint, see where it has gone. Philadelphia has a site, Philly 311, and the mayor in Philadelphia had put a whole task force. We may not need to have a whole task force, but we might want to look into the technology that's available to be able to allow our residents to become more engaged in the community and to be able to report these things. Not just potholes, but quality of life
Right.
issues.
A tree might be hiding the traffic light, the poles bending over, anything. Report anything that could help the community.
Yes.
It's, you know,
And I think by bringing more engagement on the community's part, that our community can get tighter. And I think it can be safer because more people have a stake in what's going on in their neighborhood.
we have to do something to get people to come to Norristown. I think the meters we got there are confusing. I think there's paying $28 fine is a lot of money. It's chasing people out of town. My opinion, I was in charge of women crossing guards and meter maids. And they had the meters, with the 25 cents for an hour, whatever it was, you know, but it brought the people in, okay? You need more, we got places there, you can't park here, you can't park there, you can't park. Let's get parking, let's make this town close. I'll give you an example. Years ago, the Roosevelt Field, a football field, there's a great big beautiful field. Don't have no parking, no place for people to park. Because years ago, everybody walked, okay? So now we have Elmwood Park, you know, the zoo over there, they have a big parking lot, and we don't get a penny out of it, okay? We don't get no taxes, we don't get no rent, we get nothing, okay? Now, we have what do you call it, the shell there where they do the
Band
shows
shell.
and all, the band shell. There's no parking for the Elmwood Park for people to go for the swings, there's no place to park. I never heard of it, okay? So, we have to create parking. Maybe Harding Boulevard should be narrow that, what they call a...
Median strip?
Boulevard, whatever it is, and so people can park there. You gotta park. Things have changed. People don't walk.
Right.
They drive.
No, you're
And
exactly
you know,
right.
we gotta make money. How are we gonna make money?
You're exactly right with the parking issues. One of the things that I found when I was talking to the residents, when I was campaigning for being a council member, was the parking issue. You know, in the second district, we being the very business downtown issue, people had a lot of issues with parking, and I thought it was originally just a part of that particular part of town, but I realize it's all over. And it got me to thinking that we really need to look at parking as a holistic approach.
Right.
What's going to happen with the people who are affected by various different parking regulations. And the municipal administrator, our new municipal administrator,
Mr. Jones.
Jones, yes, said something to me in a meeting which I thought was excellent. Parking is not a punitive issue, it's an economic development issue.
Right.
And it needs to have been developed with the business owners in mind. So I think when we start looking at revising the parking or parking reform, is that we work hand in hand with the businesses and with the residents and determine a policy that's going to be agreeable to everybody.
Right, right.
And not act at as a punitive issue. In other words, you get fines.
You're making money on fines. Let's
Right.
find another way.
Parking should not be looked at as a revenue stream. It should be looked at as an economic development
right.
tool that can get people in and out of our downtown areas so that they can visit and patronize the businesses that are there, rather than penalizing them
Yeah, right.
for parking too
We
long
need
or too late.
parking. The town changed. It used to people walk all over. My father had a shoemaker shop down Main Street. Well, people came with a bus from Conshohocken, from Collegeville, leave them there in 1 week and come back the next week, you know, by bus, you know.
Right.
And we still don't have parking. We have parking for the courthouse. We don't have parking for the business people, you know. And how do we create it? Even if you take a survey where street parking, where you get more people, where they got no parking from here, it's about a length of 3 cars. Maybe somebody, more parking. We want people to come in. You know, we don't need a highway, you know? Come on. And then how are we gonna make money without, the only way we make money is, what they say, how's that? If you only, the only tool you have is a hammer, you could, a nail, or I forget how it goes, but we wanna find out, I don't know, maybe it's just a thought. Why can't we take over the zoo? And and then we make that money? Huh?
Well,
What's wrong with that?
The zoo provides a wonderful economic development tool for
What?
Norristown. It brings people in,
And out.
and and
In and out.
and they have an opportunity to visit other things when they're here in Norristown.
What?
So it brings people too. Once we have, and when we, as we develop, we have a whole lot of restaurants. We need to make sure that people know about these restaurants. We have cultural
right.
activities.
If
We
you-
have the Horizon Theater, which is new. We have the Center
Right, we got
Theater.
the theater, no parking, no place to park.
Well,
We got the theater, no
there-
place to park.
there are a couple of places.
Where?
There's the theater, I think, I'm not
Center
sure if
Theater,
the
Horizon, right.
The Center Theater, the Horizon Theater does have a
And
small
if they
parking
park over
lot.
there, they're gonna get a $28 ticket. I mean,
Well,
we
there-
gotta find places, I'll give you an example. The meters are on till 6 o'clock. There's nothing going on 6 o'clock, nothing going on between 5 and 6. I was in charge of the meter maid. 5 o'clock was done, okay? So if a guy wants to have dinner down there, the new restaurant down there, the owners are from Ethiopia, I think, and a great
Amaz,
restaurant, right?
Amaz Cafe.
But, you know, 5 o'clock, the guy gets down there and he gotta put $2 in a meter, come on. He wants to go someplace else. But we wanna keep people in town.
Yes.
What are we gonna do?
Well, I think the parking issue is something that we would definitely need to look into. As I said, work with the business owners to find out what works with them to make sure that their patrons can come, and that, you know, the whole reason for the parking meters was because people would park there and stay there all day, and the business owners did not get patrons because people didn't have the ability to park. So the meters were a way, and this is way back when they put them into place. The meters were a way to allow traffic to move, allow businesses to
You know how
turn
much,
over.
when the meters first came to Norristown, my father had a shoemaker shop at Main DeKalb Street, okay, and I used to shine shoes there. And the first meters was 1 penny for 12 minutes and 5 cents for 1 hour, was the very meter. And I was in charge of the meter man, okay?
Right.
And next thing you know, we had somebody that would put a coin in it in the wintertime, and then he'd squirt water in there, and the thing would freeze at 1 hour, you know. And, you know, everybody was trying to pull a deal. But people came there they could put, you know, whether it's a quarter for an hour or so. And you got to get people in there. You got to find ways of making money. not taxes. I don't mind paying taxes because I'm getting good protection. I'm getting the water. I'm getting the lights. I'm getting all. I'm paying for it, but still, I like it. I like Norristown.
Taxes can taxes can be looked at as an investment in our community. They're a way for the citizens to help with the services, to help with the maintenance, and to help with the development of businesses and bringing jobs in.
You know, there's a lot of money. If somebody would start getting funds and grants and stuff, Elmwood Park could be beautiful, okay? For parking, for the parking lot, we got the Columbus Monument there. We got the Army Memorial Service there. We got a big stage, but you got no place to park. And we got to create it, get that boulevard, squeeze it down, and then put parking on both sides. You know, that you don't make no highway.
Right.
Well,
no, I agree that we need to work.
We don't have to call a meeting of 50 people over there, and the guy over there just say, "Hey, look, let's do this, okay?"
It's a very good idea.
And then tell. I understand the zoo made a lot of money when the zebra was there.
Yes.
Right? Now,
the giraffe.
Huh?
The giraffe.
A giraffe? I don't know the difference. What was it?
That was a big draw.
Oh, that's the one with the long neck.
Yeah, they're coming back in September, I think.
Yeah, they made a lot of money. We didn't get nothing. So it's a little thought that maybe a little, you give us a little bit, maybe help pay for my, look, the zoo is nice. I'm not trying to knock on it. I want to create, I want something for Norristown there. They get rent-free, no tax, no everything, okay? A lot of valuable land out there, right? I pay $200-300 for handicap parking in front of my house. I have to pay, and $25. Why can't I put a little hot dog stand and sell hot dogs there? Because I'm paying rent there. I'm paying the rent.
Yes.
They're not paying no rent, and they're making money.
Right.
All right, but don't worry about it. Zone, don't worry about it. I'll be there February 2nd, and I'm going to greet the groundhog at the zoo, okay? So be ready for the groundhog. Norristown's going to be the place. You don't have to go upstate Pennsylvania.
Yeah, until a few years ago, I had no idea that we had a groundhog.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Norristown, was it Nellie or?
Yeah, well, I got my
the
black hat, I got the coat and everything, and then I always sing a little song about the groundhog. But I think you should spearhead because you are at large, okay? The parking, and the chief of police was saying that you're going to get the police officer more visible and more, if he sees a light out, sewer lid, something to report that. It don't have to be a crime. It'll be a crime if somebody gets hurt. Right?
Well, I think it's not just the police that need to be able to report these things, but residents need to be able to report these things.
No, the resident.
If they see a storm drain that's clogged, either they pick it up themselves or they call the municipality and ask them to clean it up.
And then the guys, the engineer, they should be patrolling the ground and see what the trees or the pole or whatever's wrong. You know, don't wait. Oh, well, I don't know. I'll close down the Dunkin' Donuts and get everybody out on the job. No, I'm not knocking. I'm going to talk about improving Norristown. And I've been around a lot of corners in Norristown, okay? And so people that don't know, I would put 24 years in the Norristown Police Department and 15 years in county detective. And I still live in Norristown, right?
Right.
And you got a chief of police, you got a council person, combination of both. Police department keeps us safe, and that's important.
Well, you asked earlier what the council does. What's the council's role in this community? And according to the charter, our role is to make the laws that govern the municipality.
Good.
And make the laws that
Who makes the laws? The people make the laws.
Yes.
Right? They
Well,
give you an idea.
the needs of the people make the laws.
Right.
For example, because a lot of times people will say, well, what kind of laws are you talking about? What does a council member do to make a law? Well, if somebody says there ought to be a stop sign, just as an example, there ought to be a stop sign at this intersection. Well, that's a law to put a stop sign there.
Right.
So we get community input as to what the needs of that intersection are.
Right.
And then we work with our solicitor to draft an ordinance that will specify that there will be a stop sign at that intersection. So that's a type of law that is done. There's other types of laws that have to do with removing weeds on your property or removing snow on your property.
Right.
And this is a way to keep the community attractive and safe.
Can I give you an idea?
Sure.
When I was a safety officer in Norristown Police, Pete Lewis was the athletic director in Norristown, and they used to dedicate 1 week for fix up, clean up, paint up. And they would have these pamphlets, and then they had a paint store donated some paint, whatever, and these flyers were given to all the schools, elementary schools in Norristown, and they took it home to their parents. Designated 1 week, paint up, fix up, clean up. So we could dedicate 1 week, and we don't have to have a special organization. Everybody will take care of their own little thing. You know, it's just a thought. I know and I used to help them. I used to give it out, give the flyers out, you know. So, all right, now, what's your goal? We've only got about 30 seconds to go. What you going to do? You're a councilwoman. What do you want to see?
I want to see Norristown community grow. I want to see more restaurants and businesses provide more jobs for our community members and the constituents. And I want to see Norristown be made more attractive to bringing in newer people and newer businesses.
And I had the chief of police, he's come up with some ideas, you're come up with some ideas, and that's what it's about. I was in a police station down in New Orleans, and in the lobby, they have a travel agency there talking about New Orleans, where you can travel, where you get restaurants and stuff like that. Maybe that's what we have some in that lobby, have somebody there talking about Norristown. People can stop and get information. You know, get people out of the house, get people into the community. Okay, now, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for coming on, and ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot. I'm yelling a little bit because my voice was, I don't know, I must have a frog in there someplace when he goes hopping around, maybe. All right, but ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot. Here, Allah salud, to your health.